Welcome to the TTT News Special. We are rounding out World Breastfeeding Week 2021, observed under the theme Protect Breastfeeding, a Shared Responsibility. And we're happy to close out this week in style with the help of certified lactation educator Adepeju Oyesanya. Now, the young lady also has a master's in public administration, so we're looking at policy initiatives as well. And with her experience as a mother of 2 growing children, academic and work life, we're very happy to have you join us. Now, we want to start off, though, as opposed to just looking at benefits to infants at Adepeju, what are some of the long-term health benefits to mothers that breastfeed?
DK, thank you so much for having us today, and thank you for that question. The benefits to mothers is a reduction of rheumatoid arthritis, decrease in weight, decrease also in chances of ovarian and breast cancer. Also, heart health is improved, lower blood pressure, and also lower cholesterol for mothers who breastfeed long term. So there's lasting benefits to breastfeeding.
And thinking about some of these things and saying, okay, well, mothers know that there's so many benefits to the infants and to themselves. Where can mothers get help? And because I know sometimes it's almost a thing as, well, baby not latching, I'm not doing this correctly, this is my first time, I'm not sure who to ask for. Where can mothers get help?
They can contact us at Omo Best Start. We are part of the solution, and we want an inclusive of us that we can assist them with their latching, their questions. And also, whether a mom is a first time or multiple or third birth, she may still encounter some challenges. So we also want to normalize that it's okay for mothers to ask for help. It's okay to say, I'm concerned about this, or I have a problem here. So they can reach out to us at any time for assistance. We're on social media at Omo and Best Start, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for assistance. Within the theme of World Breastfeeding Week, which is a collective approach, we also want them to know that their obstetrics, their pediatrician, social workers should also be able to assist them with where to direct them if they need assistance for breastfeeding.
And Adepeju, in your experience, do you find some people feeling almost less than because they're saying, okay, well, this is something that is supposed to be natural. I'm supposed to know how to do it without having to think about it too much. How do you answer someone who tells you that that is the situation where they're at?
We are thankful when you reach out to us, when you identify that you're having a problem. Once you identify that you're having a problem and you seek help, that is the first removal of an obstacle. From there, we're able to work with you to resolve what the problem may be and to address it, because we want you to overcome your hurdles. I think it's important for moms to hear, and also for fathers to know, that breastfeeding is natural. However, it's a learned trait. So the same way we learn to drive cars, the same way we learn how to use our cell phones is the same way we learn to breastfeed. And that's why it's important to take prenatal classes prior to the delivery of the child. If you don't take them prior to, at least know where you can reach out when you have help. And again, let's normalize the need for help, to say, it's okay, I'm facing a challenge, and we are here to help you overcome your challenge.
And I want to get into the issue of normalizing just now, but how has the situation of the pandemic impacted the work that you do, or the work or breastfeeding education, as you would be reading about it, circles that you are in contact with?
I think COVID-19 has changed everything for everyone, and therefore we too have changed. Where initially we would have done home visits or consultations at our office, a lot of our work now has become virtual, just like this interaction that you and I are having, DK. A lot of our moms now receive help over video and or WhatsApp conversations, so that we have not stopped helping people. I think even more so in this pandemic, we're seeing the importance of connectivity. We need to remain more connected than ever so that we have just revamped the way we do our work to make sure that mothers and fathers and baby are not left behind. We also want to encourage breastfeeding even more so during this pandemic. I think that if you didn't know what the word comorbidities was, you now do, because we're realizing that a lot of lifestyle diseases start from and generate from youth. So you don't become old and all of a sudden get diabetes or high blood pressure. Now we know that there are underlying genetic issues that make you more prone to those things. That's taken for granted. However, if it is that you have diabetes or high blood pressure because of your food intake, your diet, your lack of exercise, we're saying that if we start people at the conception stage of thinking about health, what does health mean for the baby? What does it mean for me? For both the mother and the child, we will definitely have better health outcomes in the country, which is going to reduce diabetes, reduce high blood pressure, reduce people dying prematurely and not living up to their lifespan because of health decisions that they made.
And I can only imagine that coming out of the experience, the educators that you interact with will be better for it, because you're picking up on cues so much easier. Because someone was saying to me that the work that they do in education, which of a style that is a lot more physical, they've had to really look at the way that they do things, because normally they'll be picking up on nonverbal cues, energy, and the way that someone is doing a movement to be able to better teach them, okay, well, you should do it like this instead of that. The fact that you're having to do that remotely, I guess will just build capacity for when we're able to interact on a level that's a lot more physical in the future.
Yes, it definitely does build capacity, and also it is where we're going in the profession. Telehealth is going to eventually become part of our normal. So being able to ask better questions of moms and dads to solve problems, being also able to reassure and build trust. Trust that you feel that you can open up and discuss your issues. I always say the work we do is non-judgmental. We're not here to judge you. We are here to provide guidance. We're here to provide suggestions and tools. I always talk about my work as we give you a toolkit. You then have to decide what within that toolkit works best for you and your family. So I'm thinking that this has been a great opportunity for us to hone our listening skills even more so we can better serve our moms and our dads and of course our babies.
And in terms of that toolkit, I want to talk about products and Omo and Best Start when we return, but we take a short break. We come back with so much more. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking with certified lactation educator Adepeju Oyesanya, and you were speaking about toolkits and tools, Adepeju. So what are some of those tools in terms of the physical tools that individuals can get to help pump, express, just make the process of lactation easier, or make it happen in a way that, as opposed to just child latching onto mother?
I want to address the latching. Some moms are choosing not to breastfeed at the breast. So we are also aware of that, and we want to continue to encourage human milk. Therefore, we provide pumps so that moms can breastfeed, in quotes, and produce human milk for their child, whether they are physically separated because they're going to the workplace or that is their choice. In addition, we don't, because a lot of difficulties right now globally with bringing in goods and transportation issues, we want moms to feel rest assured that they have the items needed. So we carry the replacement parts for our pumps that we have as well. So reducing stress in that way helps the mom to feel more confident that if there's a broken piece or a part that isn't working properly or needs replacement, that she has easy access to it. Our goal is to help you along the journey.
And in that journey, where do fathers figure in? Because many times we hear about mom, child, but where does daddy, what role does daddy play in the process of breastfeeding, in the process of lactation?
I love that question, DK, because men and dads fit in a big, big way. I call them the non-nutritive caregiver, which means for some dads who have mothers who are breastfeeding at the breast, they will not be responsible for breastfeeding or feeding the child. So they will do more skin to skin. They'll do more bath time. They'll do more bringing the baby for feeds at night, more soothing during the fussy hours baby is having. Now for dads where their partners are exclusively pumping, they will help with washing of pump parts. They will help with making sure that mom is relaxed. They will also ensure that she's fed, that she's eating a healthy diet, that those who may not be so supportive of her breastfeeding journey, that they're kept at bay, so that it's a warm environment that encourages her. And they are a team. Dads are part of the team. Persons such as myself, we will virtually assist you, but we go home. Dads are with you 24 hours.
As we start,
and we
as you're starting to give us, that fulsome explanation on the role of dads and how fellas can be big man inside the whole process of lactation, I feel as though the connection is cutting out a little bit. I'm wondering if you are back with us, and if so, I'd ask for some. All right, so I'll ask for some history of Omo and Best Start. Thank you. So it seems as though we are still trying to get back Adepeju Oyesanya, a certified lactation educator. And so in terms of the workshops, there have been workshops that have been held. But one of the things though, and we hasten to say that if you don't see masks, is because this is archival footage. But in terms of looking at the fact that pivots have had to be made so that the consultations now take place virtually. These are some of the things that we're looking at. We know pivot is a word that is currently trending at this point in time, as well as the fact that we would be able to get you or Omo and Best Start on Instagram, on Facebook, are you on Twitter as well? I believe so. And looking to see whether or not we can get you at this point in time. Adepeju, are you back with us?
DK, how much of my response?
Yes, so we can hear you, yes. So continue, thanks, Adepeju.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're hearing you, so we'll actually ask you to give us a little history of Omo and Best Start, thank you.
Why history of Omo and Best Start?
Yes, so why the name, when was it birthed, and what is the mission behind Omo and Best Start?
Okay. The mission, well, we were birthed, it's Omo, which is the Yoruba word for child. And Best Start was birthed in 2011. So it's actually two desires that we had that came together. Best Start does more preventative health care. We realize living in the Caribbean and globally, non-communicable diseases are on the rise. We wanted to start from conception so that if you have a healthy start, you reduce the risk long-term of getting into health problems. But I also believe that telling people to have a healthy start was insufficient. It's an insufficient messaging. You have to come alongside people where they are and help them along to learn new behaviors, new attitudes, both individually and in the workplace, because most women will return back out to work. So we've also worked with organizations like Unitrust, Mossy, to sensitize the organization that your employees and their well-being is important. And how do we support that as a company? So bringing together the individual and their workplace leads to a healthier society, therefore reducing healthcare costs and the burden of premature death for families and society. So that was what spurred us on to do the work that we started to do and we continue to do.
And with that in mind, I'd like to get the contact information for Omo and Best Start, but just after you give us that though, what are some of the things that are necessary in your view to normalize best breastfeeding, because this is something that is natural, or lactation?
To normalize it, and when you say natural, is to also change the conversation. Breastfeeding is natural, however, is a learned trait that I mentioned earlier. We need to encourage education. We need to encourage prenatal education when mothers and fathers are expecting, that they're educated specifically about breastfeeding, what to expect, what is normal, and if it is that you need assistance, where you can receive assistance, where you can receive the support you need to overcome your challenges. In addition, because so many women now are working during their childbearing years, it's important that workplaces themselves sensitize themselves. Labor, there are many arms that need to get more involved in how we address breastfeeding. And as those arms come on board, through policy changes, activities, education, then we will have a better conversation as a nation about the well-being of the citizenry.
I don't
If you'd like to join us, we ask that we're on social media. We are on Facebook. Our Facebook page is OMO and Best Start. That is also the same for Twitter. Our Instagram is a little bit different. It's OMO_ and Best Start.
All right, and one of the reasons I asked in terms of normalizing, because it seems as though there is this view that if we, I say we as men, projecting a sexual gaze upon women, that is one thing. But as soon as that gaze is, I guess, almost like interrupted because she is breastfeeding, suddenly it's so radically different. And I remember you actually shared something on your Facebook page with regard to Ice-T coming to the defense of his wife, who has been breastfeeding their child for a few years. Well, I think the child is almost like about 5. So what are some of the things needed to change that as well?
DK, can you repeat your question? I missed it.
So how do we, I don't know if to say desexualize, but looking at the fact that breastfeeding is breastfeeding, and it is something that is, once again, natural, but also having men defend women. I remember you shared Ice-T coming to the defense of his wife, saying, okay, well, she can breastfeed as much as she wants to because this is our child and this is something that will happen wherever you are. You can go back into your cellar, I think he said. So what are some of the things needed to address that?
What we can do to address that is that we need to educate ourselves more about the human body. We need to understand that, unfortunately, the breast has become so commodified that it's used to sell everything. Yet, however, it remains a nutritive source for babies. So distinguishing the sexualization of it and normalizing that it serves for feeding purposes needs to be a conversation that we have. And I would say that we have it with our young adolescents, teenagers, so that they have a different understanding of the function of the human body, and they have a better understanding and appreciation of the beauty of the human body, and that it serves many purposes all at once. If we can get people to better understand that, then we can get a more welcoming approach to lactation, to understand that a mother is feeding her child. And not only is she feeding her child, she is also helping herself in the terms of reducing long-term health issues and helping her child in the same manner. And workplaces can also come to understand that in providing the space and the time for lactation, they are reducing absenteeism, they're reducing their overall healthcare costs in terms of care for cancer and diabetes and things like that. We need to start a conversation that breastfeeding has benefits to both the individual and to the larger society. So it's in the interest of the larger society to provide the means for moms to breastfeed, to support the process, and to desexualize an activity.
And that is a beautiful point on which to put a pause on this conversation. So we want to thank you so much, Adepeju Oyesanya, Certified Lactation Educator, representing Omo and Best Start. And on behalf of the entire news team, we want to thank you for joining us.